So welcome everybody to Webclass Wednesday Live. I love having you all in the room live on Wednesday nights. Love our Webclass warriors, as we call them, and welcome to everybody who's new in the room. And if you're catching the replay on the recording, welcome to the class. So I want to kind of kick this one off in a way that really is fitting of teams. And if any of you have worked solopreneur or in a company environment or as entrepreneurs, you know how important it is to have a team around you that supports not only your vision, you have a collective vision, but you support the vision for your client and what it is they want to accomplish. So as many of you know, my mantra in business is how can I serve? So how can we find a way as your team to get you where you want to go? So just to back it up a little bit, my business started in 1992, promotional, PR, publicist. And over the years, one of my clients became a theater company, a nonprofit theater company in Hudson. And we were doing everything old school at the time, cutting and pasting ads, you know, and doing things, press releases by fax. And we don't want to go all the way back there. But fast forward to needing to bring our world up into a little bit of, into synchronicity with the rest of the world, I suggested to the board at the theater that we have some sort of team that could help us do the graphic design. So this is where I first met Stephen Charles back in 2005, when one of my promotional events for the theater company, where I was the marketing and promotional director at the time. They were a huge client of mine, and I wanted to do dinner theater. So we had restaurants and we had a theater. So I wanted to put the two together. So Stephen Charles, who I called the Chaps, right from the day I met them, and it stuck, they came in and helped me create a promotional campaign for a dinner theater program, which basically collaborated our theater with all the restaurants in town. And that's where our relationship started. And when I decided that the theater was going one way and I was going the other, I wanted to stay with this team. So it gives you a bit of an idea of the relationship that we've had. I worked in their offices at the time for about 6 years, or 5 or 6 years, the offices that are no longer. And just as I was ready to expand, they were ready to move from their offices. So we ended up again under one roof, which is just so much fun. And the idea from the Pathways to Publishing Academy that I really wanted to expand the footprint. And I had noticed some things about the publishing industry that were giving me pause. You know, I had a lot of clients come to me who had some struggles. They had struggles with transparency. They had struggles with an industry that was not giving people accurate information. And quite honestly, an industry that was taking some people for a ride. And I didn't like it much. So I thought, you know, the way that we do business, the way I do business, and we all, anybody who's on my team, anyone who works with me understands that there is a certain code for doing business with integrity. And I wanted to kind of expand what we were doing. So taking the Pathways to Publishing Academy to a broader place, to have a footprint in the publishing industry, to mean something. I got a download one day about oxygen. And the name Oxygen Publishing came to me for a lot of different reasons that I won't bore you all with now, but the actual name happens to mean exactly what it is that I want to project into the world, right? I want to project transparency and clarity and integrity and humanity. And these are the people that are on my team. All of these human beings you're going to do business with if you're working with us. So the team that I have for Oxygen, and wait for JP to get on the line, includes JP Martel, who I met through Village Theatre. He was the president of Village Theatre at one point while I was there, and he and I created an event together to put the theater on the map. So another promotional idea we had was to get a train to bring people from Montreal to Hudson and to market the summer season. So we we got the AMT involved, we got the media involved, and we had one heck of an opening season. And the mayor of Hudson they're still talking about it. So we created an event together, and we realized that, you know, we worked very, very well together then. And when Oxygen came to be, the clarity that I knew that I wanted to expand, I reached out to JP, and he was the one that I wanted to bring on board. I admired him in the industry. He was an advertising guy. He had a firm, an advertising firm. He handled all the big contracts, all the big names in advertising. He was in charge of their creative. And I admired his ingenuity, and I admired his creativity. He was an author. So we had a conversation, and Oxygen was born in about 3 days, back in the month of December. And we officially launched it in April. So we moved into our offices with our chaps, and now our crazy team is all under one roof. So I want to introduce you to a couple of people who aren't physically in our space, because quite honestly, we don't have room. But we love you. But they work on our team, and they're an integral key elements of the Oxygen team. So JP Martel, my partner, I hope will be on this call shortly. We have got Charles and Steve in the house, who handle all creative design. So anything that has anything to do with creating your book covers, interiors, exteriors, branding, your banners, anything that has to do with creative design, and any marketing material that we need, we have them. We have Shari Reinhardt, and I love Shari. Shari's heart-centered. She's an entrepreneur. She's a writer. She's an author. And she has a clientele that love her as well. And so it's a perfect match. So Shari is the one who really takes care, and care with a capital C, of authors' manuscripts. And any of you who are in the room who have worked with Shari understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a question of some person reading your manuscript, putting a bunch of red lines through it. You're having, you have a relationship with your designers, you have a relationship with your editors, and it's a very important part of a team that works together congruently, so that you, as a client, feel that you're supported throughout the entire journey. And this is a piece that I really felt that was missing and not addressed in the industry. A lot of people say they do a lot of things, but they don't actually do it. And we actually do these things. And the proof, I guess, as they say, is in the pudding. We have some really, really happy clients. The happy clients make us very, very happy. So as well in the house tonight, Nathan Bowman. So I met Nathan a couple of years ago. He was the webmaster extraordinaire behind a pre-sale campaign we did for a client called Michael Challenger. And some of you have met him in the room. He's managed to drop in when he can. He wrote a book called Don't Let Fear Paralyze You that has taken off like wildfire. And Nathan and I, actually, when I was in London 2 years ago, we were on some Zoom calls then, masterminding Michael's launch. So when I was thinking about how can we incorporate somebody just as visionary into our team that has the same integrity as we do, I reached out to Nathan, and it was clear pretty quickly that he would be a great, great addition to the team for our authors who want to create a brand. And you know that I teach author branding and promotion and self-promotion. So as far as having somebody on the team that can create just a simple website for an author, nothing has to be complicated. You know, you get a lot of that, again, in the industry where they want to sell you stuff that you don't need. We just want you to have what you need to get you started, get you rolling. And we can expand in any way that we need to expand. So Nathan is a specialist, okay? And I didn't really actually know what his superpowers were until I really started spending some time with him on the phone. So he knows a heck of a lot more about marketing ourselves online. And I have a whole component to my business, which is the business beyond the book. And so Nathan's on board really from the get-go, right to the very, to the expansion of what we're doing. So we've got a website, we've got author branding, and we've got full-scale websites integrated with commerce, and then we can, you know, build our brands and whatnot online. So everything that we need to create an entire system for authors to feel comfortable, to be able to ask questions, to never feel like, okay, what do I do now? That's usually the biggest challenge, right? The next step, you don't even know what it is, but you know you don't have anyone to go to. Really important. So there's my partner. He is here. I'm going to unmute you, kind sir. You found us.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to, okay, there we go. Perfect. We're good. So everybody, JP Martel, who is the other half of the Oxygen Partnership. Welcome to JP. So I was saying before, I had met you and met you through Village Theatre, and one of the things that I admired so much about JP was how he was able to bring creativity to what he did, and how we kind of spoke the same language. So he's an industry leader in advertising and creative marketing campaigns, and an award winner. So he's an author, and he understood the art of sharing our story with the world and how important it is for everyone that we do so. He brings 25 years of experience into an industry that really needs more transparency. So we combined our passion for writing, storytelling, creative concepts, and publishing, and we developed Oxygen. We breathe life into your books. It was born. It's transparent, just like air. So I want everybody to say hello to JP. JP, if you want to just say hello to everyone.
Hi everybody. Sorry, sorry, I got in a bit of a struggle with my internet provider.
Nope.
I'm happy to be here tonight. Happy to be with Carolyn in Oxygen, and hopefully make a lot of present and future authors' lives smoother, better, and more exciting.
So I'm just going to share with you for a second. I'm going to share the screen so that you can see a little bit more. So here we have the Oxygen Publishing House website. Can everybody see me? Can everyone see the screen? Yeah, great. So here we have just a little bit of an overview of the website, your story, right? What Oxygen is about, who we are, and then a little bit about how we want to proceed in business, how our business is your book, and our business is sharing your story with the world. So Oxygen is created by authors for authors. So JP and I lead a team of publishing professionals, and we have them right here for you, who offer a breath of fresh air in an industry that often classifies a book simply as a product instead of elevating it to the worthy status it deserves, an author's mission and vision. Your book is an integral part of you, your brand, and your future. No matter the genre you choose to write, your vision is key, and our mission at Oxygen Publishing is to help you breathe life into your books. Idea concept, development, author coaching, writing, editing, design, branding, promotion, publishing, and business beyond your book. You'll find these next-gen options all under one roof at Oxygen. There's my elevator pitch, guys. So if you look here, it tells you a little bit more about our partner, JP Martel.
Hello.
Can we see? There we go. Can you guys see the screen there?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So
There you are.
got the chat going on here. Hang on a second, let me come back and let me close the chat. There we go. So here we have Monsieur Martel.
Yes, ma'am.
Published his first novel the same year he obtained his MA degree in literature from McGill. And during his PhD studies, he became a professor of language and literature at McGill. Soon after, he was attracted and seduced by the fascinating world of marketing and advertising, became the creative director and managing partner of major Canadian advertising agencies. His agency, Martel et Compagnie, which is where I first met him when he was working with Village Theatre, he ran for 25 years, and he's now part of the Publicis World of Group agencies. So his experience, his love of literature, storytelling, and our combined desire to be able to breathe life into people's books. And that's quite literal, right? Because if any of you have published books, and some of you on the call have, you understand that this is a process of transformation. It's not about words to paper. It's about building yourself as an author and building your book at the same time. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you. And just so that you know, we are accepting manuscript submissions for anybody in the room or anybody that you know. Right on our website, we have a full integrated submission process. There's a form here that you just need to fill out and send us a manuscript, because Chat Steve coined a phrase that we liked immediately, and we've been using it on all of our marketing, and it says, no book is left uncovered. Right? So here's our team, and there's so many of you in the room that are at different stages of publishing and developing your book and your stories, and moving from certainly one book to the next book. I know a couple of you are here. So I just wanted to open it up to see JP said a few words. Steve and Charles, do you want to say a couple of words about your designing business and what it means for you when you're presented with a client's book idea, and how it feels to have this privilege of creating from scratch the actual visual that becomes the cover and back cover of their book?
Yeah, we will. I think both of us would chip in. May I go first, Charles?
Fire away, mate.
That's extremely kind of you. Thank you so much. It is a privilege, actually, to touch base initially with anybody who's, whether it be an author or anybody who wants something created. It fascinates me because it's that initial foray into finding exactly where you are in the process, and delving in underneath the skin to try and drag out little tidbits. It's interesting. Most people would say the best client is somebody who comes along with exactly the idea they want. But that's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, I personally prefer somebody who comes perhaps with a vision. Now, the vision may not necessarily be fixed. It could be a vision that's slightly ghostly. And we're the ones that then will talk and then come up with ideas and try and fill in the pieces to make it become sharper, and the image becomes sharper. And there's nothing more pleasing than actually coming to the end of the process and for the author to see a cover design and just be moved by it. And that's I think what we strive for. Charles and I would strive to create a reaction in you. Now, okay, it may be that it's not a good reaction, but well, that has happened. It has happened, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
It has happened. And I think if we can do that, then we're well on the way to creating a cover that is something that you want, desire, and feel that can go out into the world. If it creates a reaction in you, then it will sure create a reaction in other people if they're looking at the cover.
Absolutely true. Charles?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that obviously over the years, Steve and I have mainly in the past dealt with corporations, and corporations large and small. And what corporations do is they deal in stuff. That stuff might be baked beans, it might be countertops, it might be aerospace, it might be whatever. And it's, of course, fascinating dealing with those people. But the first time I worked with one of the authors, one of Carolyn's authors, I suddenly found it to be a unique experience, because for the first time, the client in front of me had produced something themselves. And I suddenly realized what a huge responsibility it was to work with this particular lady to try and create her vision actually in design and look and form and feel. If I could use a baby analogy, and I think I will today, especially as we've just met Archie,
Yes.
the latest royal prince, or maybe not a prince as it turns out, maybe he will not have a royal title.
Master. He's Master Archie.
Yeah, absolutely, Master Archie. It is as if we are presented with a naked baby, and together we work to clothe that baby before it is introduced, hopefully, to its adoring public.
It's
and
a great
I
analogy.
find it a great privilege and a unique pleasure to work with authors. And I hope we work with a lot more, because having been in this business for many, many years, some people might get a bit jaundiced and jaded, but to me, this is a fantastic new experience for us. And long may it continue.
Well, thank you. And that's, yes, sir. That's a great analogy. And I remember that book as well. And I remember how happy she was with the interior of that book. And that was, you know, we get, I don't know who gets more excited about the books, to be honest. I don't know if it's you, the client, or us, because I know the process that we go through just to be able to fulfill each and every vision, because it's not a template sort of factory. These are all individually crafted covers and interiors, and each one of those interiors in the design process is uniquely designed to match the vision of your book. So whether it is a plane that flies across a memoir of a 40-year pilot, or it's butterflies that fly through a book, okay? Whatever it is, it's unique. It's not found anywhere else. So you can be sure that when your book is born, when that baby, right, and it's very much like that, because the book takes on a life of its own after it's born, and I've used that analogy, you know, hundreds of times. It's so true. This book is a part of you, and you birth this baby. This book, it goes out into the world, and then everything changes, right? So why would you spend all that imaginative and intuitive time to have all of this, all these words of yours, whether you're writing fiction, nonfiction, it doesn't matter, right? Whatever it is that you're writing comes, you know, to and through you. And you're spending that time and energy downloading this information and recording it and putting it in a book. And I think the reason why the self-publishing industry, I don't call it the self-publishing industry, but I think the reason why it has developed over time, not such a great reputation, is because people don't clothe their work very well. So they spend all this time and energy just mastering what it is and the messaging and their craft or their imagination in their fiction or what have you. They don't have the book edited, and they don't have a clever cover. Your cover is your sales engine, right? If you've got quality on the outside, you know, you're aspiring your reader to understand you have quality on the inside. And the only way to have quality on the inside, other than your mastery with words, is to have your book edited by somebody like Shari Reinhardt. So Shari takes what you do and elevates it. I've worked with editors before. There are editors in the business that just want to take what you do and slash it, which again gives the industry a bad name. There are certain people out there that are not working from the right energy, and in their mind, they're helping you by cutting down what you've done, by minimizing what you've done for whatever reason is theirs, but it gives authors a very bad taste in their mouth, because then they distrust. And trust, especially in a team, it's key. It's a key element. So when I introduce my authors to Shari, I know, because I know Shari, that the process that they're going to experience is one that's going to uplift what they've written. They don't have the fear going in. First of all, we quell those fears. We make sure they understand what the process, what's involved, what we're going to do, how we're going to proceed, and how This process is meant to help you, not hinder you. This is not something, even though you're going to maybe see a bunch of red marks in there, we're working together to fine tune, finesse. That's our job, uplift. Okay. So Sherry, I don't know if you want to say a few words about that, because this is your superpower, your zone of genius. And I know that you just absolutely love every single opportunity that you have, whether you're working with Oxygen, which, you know, bigger and bigger role for you, or many of your own author clients, is just being able to have that privilege of getting a small time with each one of these stories as it makes its way through the journey, right?
Exactly. So to everyone who is here, Carolyn knows me really, really well, because everything she just said is exactly like when we ever have a discussion about a book that's coming up, she just knows my heart, and she just shared that with you, because I don't do this work just to do work. I actually feel that I was called to do this work and to meet authors and to get to know them so that I can honor and respect everything they put into their books. Their words are their stories, are pieces of their lives. I never take that for granted. So basically, to work with me, it involves me kind of assessing a manuscript first, so that I can see where it needs the most work, because everyone writes from their own perspective, and the more we're into our books and the more we open and close a chapter, the more we revise, edit, tear up, and rewrite. We're too close to it. So everyone really does need an editor. To what extent they need their books worked on varies greatly.
Yeah.
But it's always good to have a professional eye on your material who can also read from the reader's point of view, so that we breathe a few new words into your book, for example, always catching mistakes, and just really honoring the story and the person writing it. So yeah, I do love what I do, and I love meeting your authors, Carolyn. So thank you for the privilege.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Really.
And it's really it's a phenomenal way to do business. You know, when we get the opportunity to work with somebody, and we get a glimpse at the next story, then we get really excited, and then we hear a little bit more, and then we read a little bit more, and then we start to see. And I see and well, we all do, but you know, if it comes through me, it doesn't take me very long to see the big picture, to see it from the top of the mountain, right? And I can start to picture, and I start to understand you, and I start to kind of feel where you're coming from and what it is that you want. What is your vision for this book? Where do you want to take this? You know, this could just be something that you've always wanted to do, and you don't want to go out there and market it and create a business and all that. That's fine. Right? We just want to sell the book and grow your community of people who are going to love your book. But I always leave that little door open, because you don't know what you don't know yet. Right? And I tell the story about Michael Challenger, and he was trying to get on the call tonight, but he could not, when he and I worked together for about 1.5 years on his book. And I kept telling him the same thing. I said, you have no idea. Like, I see it from up here. You have no idea yet. And I said, there's a big life after this book. And then when we had his book signing at Chapters in the West Island of Montreal, they had to move him because the amount of people that came blocked the door. So they moved him out of the way, and there were, I don't know how many people were there. And he just, through all those people and teachers from school that came to meet him, and people that had already ordered the book and were coming to have it signed and give them his congratulations and talk to him and learn more about what he was talking about. He was writing about fear and don't let it paralyze you. People wanted to know, really? How did you do this? How did you overcome? So he had all these people there, and he just turned around at one point. He goes, now I get it.
Mm-mm.
Right? Because when you're back here and I'm up here, you're seeing the mountain from the bottom. I'm looking down from the top over the valley. I see it. I get it. I understand where we're going. So Elise and I had a call. She's laughing because we had a call this afternoon about her. We started on her book, And we ended up crafting a business for her in an hour. So we created the business before the book, right? It doesn't matter what order it comes in. It comes to you. You get these ideas. You take action on the ideas. And books are living, breathing things. It's not just a bunch of words on a page. What you will travel, the transformational journey that I call the author's odyssey, that's not for the faint of heart. And we talk about books making a difference in the lives of other people. Well, of course, that's what they're designed to do. But before that happens, it's going to make a huge impact in yours. It's going to change you, because the you that started with the disbelief at the beginning of this journey, you're not the same guy or gal at the end of this journey. You've taken your own transformational journey, and it's very fitting because now you're ready to receive. Now you're ready to receive these authors who are now going to ask you to be of service to them. So we're all kind of paying it forward, aren't we? By allowing ourselves to have the courage to share our story with other people. And if everybody shared their story and had that courage, and we could create 1 million authors that could tell 1 million stories, we could impact millions of people, and we could change the lives of millions of people. So that's what motivates and drives me forward, to be able to create and co-create with authors. And when we're at the point where authors then want to elevate into a brand, well, then we have somebody who can help on the team do that. So then we bring in Nathan. So Nathan is a webmaster developer. He's a teacher. He's a technical wizard, I call him. And he comes to us so that you as authors now have a landing place. You have a place to call home, right? You have a place where all your umbrella, all of your art has a place to land, so that, guess what? Other people know who you are, right? In the Pathways to Publishing journey, commit, write, design, promote, publish. Promote comes before publish. We don't just publish a book and then say, oh, I think we better tell a couple of people that, we got a book. We got to get ahead of that. We got to get the promotion started before we publish a book. We got to create a community. We got to create a brand. We want to create an identity online. And when it comes to creating that identity, you need a web domain, you need a website, and that's what Nathan does. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and where your business started and came to be, and how you are here now in our room, Nathan.
Sure. Thank you, Carolyn. And hi, everyone. As Carolyn says, I've been doing web development for quite some time. And my goal is, as with Steve, is to help you discover your expression of your website in a way that carries across you and the intent you have for your book. So we don't use any templates, and meet one-on-one with you. And my goal really is to take all of these technical tasks off of your hands, and we all do what we do. And what I want is for you to be able to focus on your book, focus on your concepts, and just know that you have someone in your corner who's going to take care of all the little technical details, set up your hosting, and give you something that you can have confidence in.
Yeah, and as you move forward throughout the journey, when you create you create a website, and we have Nathan's been kind enough to really put together a tremendous starter way. Just I said, let's figure out something together where we can offer authors just a way to get started. Okay, that's what I said earlier. We don't need to go into these multi-page websites unless that's exactly what you want, or that's what you have and you want to fine-tune it and you want to make it better and you want to realign it with what you're doing now, because that's like top-notch for Nathan. And what I love about working with Nathan is that he's very intuitive as well, which is why I guess he fits so well into this team. There isn't a lot of wondering, so you kind of put something forward and Nathan kind of runs with it and he takes charge of it and then he thinks from it so that he's not asking me, he's actually creating for the client so that he understood what the client wanted through me. Then he connects with the client, and he's worked with a couple of you here in the room, and I'm sure you could probably attest to it. I'll open the lines, in a little bit, but he gets it. He understands what we're trying to do, and we're not trying to make it complicated. We're trying to do the direct opposite. The whole mission of Oxygen and the work that I do from coaching and consulting and really kind of like moving clients through that whole mindset piece, we want to bring ease to the process. We want to make it fun. We want you to enjoy publishing your book. It should not be a hardship. I have had so many conversations with authors who have either not published their book because they're just so fed up with misinformation and they don't get what they want, and worse off, they think they're getting, they don't get, no one follows through, they're like invisible. Nobody answers them, and when they do get answers, they were more confused than when they started. So if everybody who's on this line, I'm pretty sure we have some pretty good open lines of communication. And I think that's important because as you move forward through your author journey, it's what you need to feel that you have something important to share. And so if the team that has guided you like shepherds along the way, along through the different signposts and the hills and the valleys, if they believe in you, right, and then you come to believe in you, then your readers believe in you, what kind of change does that make in your life, right? It's an entire paradigm shift of the way that you see yourself, the way you're becoming, the way you are transforming as an artist, as a writer, as an author. So it has a lot more to do with that than writing a book and penning words to page. Okay, this is about creating your life, creating a brand, a business, monetizing your business, monetizing your book sales, creating community. And if you knew that your book, and I can guarantee you it will, but if you knew that what you're writing could change one life, just one, would it be worth it to you? Would it be worth it if you knew there was one person who would pick up the phone or send you an email or show up at a book signing and go, you have no idea what this book did for me? And I can guarantee you that's the case. So let that motivate you through the writing process. Think with the end in mind, like Neville Goddard always says, right? Always think with the end in mind. So I want to open up the floor to questions. Does anyone have any questions for anybody here in the room? Please unmute yourself. Let us know. Say hello and let us know if you have a question for Shari or Steve or Charles or JP or Nathan. So I'm going to mute myself now.
Oh, goodness.
Anybody? Any takers? Any hands up?
Well, I don't have any question, but I just think it's amazing. First of all, it's welcome Oxygen to the world. It was amazing to meet the whole team. You know, sometimes we work with people, but we don't always get to see them. We don't get to see their personalities. And we could see that, you know, Oxygen is like rock solid, has really many fathers.
Yeah.
one mother and many fathers. Yeah. But it's really amazing, and you've explained yourself so well, and the whole the whole transparency behind your brand, the integrity, just makes me want to refer you to the world. You know.
Thank you.
So I just want to say that, and you guys are doing amazing work. I know that I had my book done with Carolyn, and I think I dealt with Steve as well, which was a lot of fun. My experience was amazing, was totally fun, and I know that. Anybody who says book, it's like Carolyn Flower and Oxygen team, you know, there's nowhere else to go. It's the place to be.
Thanks, Pazit. That's great. Thank you. We love that your experience was fun. I think that's one of the things when I was in the office with the guys and now back in the office. I missed it after, I moved my office and now we're back, and it's like, yeah, I miss these guys. It's like it's fun. We have a fun time. Yeah, great. Thanks, honey. Thank you, Pazit.
You got it. Love to see you guys keep growing.
Thank you. Anybody else or want to share? Lise, go ahead, Lise.
I just want to say I love the way you presented yourself and you presented the team with you, but we didn't hear Jean-Pierre. I would love to hear Jean-Pierre maybe have a few words. And you asked me something today, Caroline.
Oui.
You asked me to show what I've got from...
Yes, please. Oh, let's see that first, please.
But you're not going to see the title.
You can show, nobody's going to be able to read it. It's too far. Okay, so give you some context. Lise is writing her book. We won't say what it's about, but she copywrote her title, and now she got it from Industry Canada. She got her copyright certificate, all official and all from the Government of Canada. So yes, very exciting moment. So yes, thank you for remembering to share that.
I feel like Samantha last week with her box in the family.
Unboxing day.
That was really, really good. Really good.
We all had a lot of fun sharing that with you, and also with Nayoko. Nayoko, we posted some pictures. It was her unboxing day yesterday. So that was a lot of fun. So I'm going to come back to both of you, but JP, you want to say a few words and maybe just your vision and kind of what it's like to be with us crazy people?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, I'm a writer, but I'm also an advertising guy. And in both these worlds, there's one common thing, which is the importance of the storytelling. And I spent all my life in advertising, for example, and think of everything it's always about telling a story about, and it's most of the time more than a product, a brand, and a service. It's more about an experience. But you have to do that. And when Carolyn and I and our friends Charles and Steve decided, okay, let's do Oxygen. Our main idea was to say everyone's story is so important because it's important for Apple or for Toyota, but it's important for any writer, any story. And we had said, and it's probably Carolyn's main idea with the name Oxygen and all of that. Could we find a way with the right people, the right service, the right everything, the right professionalism, to make that process simpler, easier. And on one hand, and on the other hand, to try to help anybody who has a story to say, to tell to the people, to make it as beautiful, as impactful as possible. Because that's the name of the game. I mean, the chaps can talk about the visuals, and they are so right, because that's the first thing you see about a book. We can talk about the inside. We talked about the editing, but this is not to transform a story, is to embellish a story and to make it to. Carolyn and I are now reading, she's reading, I lent her a book. It's called The War of Art. And it's interesting. This book, I don't have it, I forget the name of the author, but what he's telling us is that beware of this concept of resistance to telling your story. And I think as an advertising man, branding, as a writer, as a professor, whatever, I live that like all of you guys live. We all have a dozen or 100 reasons every day not to tell the story we should be telling. And Carolyn and I said, can we find a way to help people? Everybody is into that, the kids are noisy, they need to go to bed, or you need to run after the talk, or you work too long, or you're tired. And they're all good reasons. I see you laugh, but we all have those reasons. And last week, we were talking about people, I was talking about Victor Hugo, and I was talking, I'm French, but the most prolific Quebec writer, Tremblay, and they have very specific schedules. It doesn't work for everybody, but some people say, okay, from 6 to 7, I'm going to write. Or whatever. But Carolyn and I, we said, well, let's try to dig that story that you want to say, Lise, you know, and we'll try to make sure that you say it and you'll be proud of it. And then, as Carolyn said, maybe you'll change people's lives. And I don't mind if it's fiction, nonfiction, you know, theater, comic books, or youth books. They're all important. And one important point, and I'll shut up after that. I don't want to take too much time, but one important point that Carolyn was saying is that we don't see ourselves as judges here. And Placid said that we're partners. The writers, you know, they are gods. Like we're probably the first publishing house that is run by authors. We're not finance people. I have nothing against finance people or business people or whatever else people. We're artists and we're authors. So we understand you. You say, hey, I'm struggling. I have this story. I struggle all my life, you know, for Coca-Cola or General Motors or Apple, and they have a problem. What's the freaking story you have to tell? And it has to be transparent for people to believe you, to understand you, and to try, when you're in advertising, and to try to do what you would like them to do. You know? But so that's why Oxygen exists. That's why the name. That's why we want to be transparent. Well, Carolyn could tell you horror stories. She said she talked to many writers. We don't want anybody to have a horror story. We have the best designers, you know, we have the best editor, and we believe we're not too bad either. But that's the idea, Liz. I'm sorry if I didn't talk well. Thank you. Thank you.
That's fantastic. I mean, you know, you said it all.
It doesn't come from the heart. That's me. That's who I am. Carolyn knows me. We know each other for 10, 12 years, you know, but we've worked together. We've made I'm sorry, Liz.
No, but the best teachers are the ones who are in the business. And it's the first time I hear this, authors helping authors.
No, it sounds obvious, but it's not that often that you see that, right? And maybe we won't always react the way we should, as she's the president, I'm the vice president, but more than that, we're authors. We'll relate to you like two authors and say, oh yeah. What do you think of this? Like Carolyn was talking about the mountain from here, from there. That's an author's perspective. You know, it's like it's not a banker's perspective necessarily. But that's what I think people need, because whatever your story is, the important thing at the end of the day is that it gets out and beautifully and impactfully, you know. And yes, it takes promotion. It takes a landing page and website and design and beautiful editing and understanding. And I would say the most important word is probably compassion, because and there's passion into compassion. But hey, you just listen to Charles and Steve, how they talk about design. They don't talk about photography or drawing. This is how they put their passion on the front cover, you know, because that's the only thing that will move us, you know. It's our stories are all passionate stories, you know. But anyway, I talked too long. But Lise, I'm so happy that you can call me, you can ask Carolyn not to join me, but thank you.
I just want to thank you so much. That was so well said, beautifully articulated. And you know what? It expresses the energy, because our job, you know, to lead this company is to be able to convey what it is that we want people to understand about who we are. Because here we're doing business. People are doing business with people. We're producing a small p product. I hate to call a book a product, because it's not a product, but just for the sake of argument, we're producing a product, but we're doing business with people. It's a human interaction. And just the word oxygen is meant to convey that kind of ease, and our imagery is meant to convey that, so that people can get out of the fray of misinformation and not understanding and feeling like they're being taken advantage of and ripped off, and all the things that come to me from people that have been out there that come here. They tell me what's going on out there, and Sherry and I have had this conversation a number of times, and that's like it. I don't understand. So it's like we just need to expand the awareness of who we are, what we do, and how we want to help people tell their story. It's just that simple. So Natalie had her hand up. So I'm going to lower your hand, and there you go.
Well, good evening, everyone. So I want to first say off that I had an incredible experience working with you and your team, and Stephen and I worked really well, and the cover that was on my book was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm very grateful for that, and I knew my book would not have gotten where it got to without your team, because I knew nothing. So that was beautiful. What I'm curious about is with Nathan's role is if we wanted to get a hold of him, do we go through you, or what's sort of the process? Because you know I have my own website, and you also know that I do a lot of different things, and my website sort of covers a lot of different things. And if I wanted to streamline it or just make it a little more, I don't want to say presentable because I like what I've got right now, but just to, I guess, streamline it.
Yeah.
What's the process for myself?
Just get in touch with me. Reach out to me. I will put you in touch with Nathan so that we can figure out a really good time for us all to kind of connect. We hop on a quick call, and I can give him a bit of background about kind of where your journey took you and where you are now based on where you've been, and then he can help you move forward from there, because that's particularly his zone of genius, is to take what is and then kind of reconstruct it, because you grow as an artist. You're not going to stay in the same place. You're going to need things to move forward. You're going to change maybe brands or colors, or like I talk about the umbrella brand of yourname.com, and then putting things underneath your name. So he's brilliant for that, and understanding kind of the compartmentalizing of what I know that you're looking to do, because I've had to do the same thing with my brand. So yes, reach out. We'll hop on a call, and then you and Nathan can figure out what's best for you. Does that work for you, Nathan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, super. Okay, Samantha had her hand up as well. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh God, there's so much to say. I'm always gushing about you guys, but like, because it's real. You know, it's Carolyn. You know, when I came to you, it was really funny because when I first came to you, I was very wary. I told you after, you know, I kind of was just watching from the sidelines first, just trying to get a feel, because even though I was doing this independently, I had some bad experiences when it came to the editing, which cost me thousands more than it should have. I turned down some pretty big publishing places because of the lack of integrity. And really with Carolyn, I was very transparent from the beginning, and so was she. So it was like trust that was earned and learned, you know what I mean? Because that was a very big step for me. And especially within like this book, and where I was always so ready to be open and very vulnerable with the reason why and how I'm showing up in the world. That's so important to me. So I had that safe space, and with the whole team, it's like, it's real people, it's real connections, it's real stories, it's real life. You know, so, and you never feel alone. And so the 4 pillars of what I really work with, and I really find that it shows up in everywhere within your community. It's the integrity, it's the diversity, it's the generosity, you know, it comes with a sovereignty that you and your voice and your story matters, whatever way somebody chooses to show up and share that. And now that I'm at this stage, I understand. It's like everything that you had said to me in the beginning and that you shared with me, it's like now I have that clarity. So as I move forward on the next stage, and I'm the second book, and now that I'm going to be working with Nathan on the website and Stephen, when it came to the book cover, which was really magical because the first cover didn't go. Remember what we had tried? It was like, and so we were able to kind of, it's an odyssey, plain and simple. And that's the magic of it all. So it's like you bring forth this it's a new way in working with people. And it's just not a team. It becomes like a family. So it took me a long time to
definitely
get
the family
to that.
component. Yeah. Yeah. Look, he's sending you hearts down there, chap Steve is.
Aww.
There you go. Okay,
Oh
Lise.
God, you guys are the best.
Thanks, Samantha. Thanks so much. Lise?
I've got 2 words and that's it after I'm not talking again. Passion and compassion. Both. This is, wow.
Well, we're happy to have you on board as well. You've got lots coming up. Everyone in the room has a lot to give, and remember what your reader is going to be asking of you, to allow them to have the opportunity to share in your vulnerability. That's why most writers don't write anything, because they get to the point where the vulnerability kicks in, the fear kicks in, the resistance kicks in. Resistance is always about fear, right? Your old story kicks in. Who am I to write a book? No, who would listen? I don't have the talent. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the money. I don't have whatever those reasons are. It's all the chatter, and it's all, alibis, and it's fear. And it's fear. So part of the process of becoming an author that leads you to writing a book is really getting through that part, the mindset piece, the belief piece, right? And so that's where a lot of, as you know, a lot of you coach with me, that's the part that we spend some time getting through that part, because if I can make that part easier, if I can dispel and I can extinguish some of those fears so that you see the bigger picture like I do, and you can borrow on my belief for a little while until you have it for yourself. I mean, I'm just doing what was done for me. When I was 9, I had a teacher that basically, I believed I was an author. She would tell me every week to bring in my stories, and then she'd make me write them on bristleboard. Bristleboard, that's a thing that we used to put up on the wall. Bristleboard, and I'd write my poems and stuff on the board. And I was 9 years old, and I thought I was an author. Like, I really thought I was, because I was published. I was up on the walls for everyone to see. So she built this belief in me. And there was never a time in my childhood, young adulthood, that I didn't believe that I was a writer, that I was an author, until I walked into those shoes and literally walked into the footsteps of, publishing articles is one thing. Publishing a book is something very, very different. So many people need someone to believe in them for a little while till they get there. And that's the piece that I think is unique about Oxygen as a publishing house, as a company, as a family of team members, is that we don't just publish your book. We help you become an author, right? And we bring you through that piece. If that's what you need to get you there so that we can get your story to the world, then we'll do that too. We'll do whatever you need us to do to get you to the stage where you're ready. You've decided this is this dream, the nudge, the shove that you're getting from your future self that's saying, hey, this book, it needs you now. It's ready for you. Are you ready for it? And then you have a team to help you get there. So that's our role. That's how we can be significant in the lives of our future authors. And it's our absolute honor and pleasure to do that. So authors in business for authors. And we absolutely love it. So does anybody else have any questions before we close our meeting? Anybody have anything else to share? Jeannie, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Hi there. I just wanted to say that you guys made it so easy, or it made it easier, because this was my first book, and it was in a very emotional book for me, for what I was going through. But you guys were more like family, and you treated me like family. And I know that bigger publishing companies won't do that. You're a bottom line number to them, how many books you can sell. But I just had a wonderful experience. I mean, you, Carolyn, you were like my therapist for a while. And Steve, I mean, you got it just right away. I mean, the first time you sent me a cover, that was it. And that rarely happens in the publishing world, you know. So I haven't had the chance to work with anybody else, but I hope so into the future. And I just wanted to thank you guys for all making a very emotional situation for me a lot easier. You know, it was like when I hit the send button, I was finally comfortable to do it. It was as if I was putting my heart on a plate, but I knew my heart was in good hands. So that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. That's important. And that makes our hearts sing. Okay. Yeah, that's great. We love your book. And you wrote a great story. And yes, talk about vulnerability.
Yeah, a
lot. So, okay, when's the next one? Because I want my characters back.
I know. They become like your family after.
They did. They sure did. I loved your book.
You spend so much time with them. I'm working on it now. I hope to have it complete by the end of the year, which is, as you know, Carolyn, a very pie in the sky goal for me because it took me so long to write the last one. But I'm sticking to a schedule, and there's so many people out there that said, I want, more from Jamie. I want more from Omar. I want to find out what goes on. And I'm like, yeah, well, I got to sit with them first and create it. So, but it's like my second family.
Exactly.
So hopefully I'm keeping my fingers crossed. This one I think will be a lot easier than the first one. I really do.
Well, listen, we're looking forward to that. I sure am. So that's great. Thanks for sharing with us so much. Okay. Anybody else? Anyone else want to unmute? Everyone else have no? We're good. Going once, going twice. Okay, we're good. Okay, well, listen, I just want to say thank you, first of all, to my exquisite team, to my partner, JP, and to
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you so much.
The chaps. So you don't have to call them by any other name but the chaps. We have names, but we forget that. And thank you to Shari for giving us her heartfelt self. She's always right there, ready to make your manuscript just shine a little bit brighter. So we love that. And to Nathan, thank you so much, Nathan, for hopping on this call. I know you're away out in the country, so really, really appreciate you taking the time to hop on.
You're welcome.
And sharing a bit, and we appreciate you.
And JP.
The other side of the Oxygen logo, Oxygène, Maison d'édition Oxygène.
The yang to your yin, Caroline.
What's that?
The yang to your yin.
That's right. And you guys are my right and left hand. And Shari, well, you could go wherever you want, and Nathan too. We'll just figure it out as we go.
And a big thank you also to Lise, to Jenny, to Naoka, and Gabriella, and Samantha, and Jean, and Natalie.
Thank you, everybody.
You lasted it out. Others have gone, but you lasted.
Yes, exactly. You get the prize.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you have any questions, you know where to reach out to. Be happy to answer any questions you have. And thanks again for a nice evening and for making our team feel welcome. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Have a great evening, everybody.
Bye all.
Thanks.
Bye.